And I want to get to the 3 things in the last year, and so that have helped me the most. So, earthing, this is a phenomenon. If you don't already know about it, it's it's basically the idea. Good tennis ball of can I have it? Going outside barefoot. Thank you, good boy. Go get it. And allowing your feet to connect to the earth and the, forgive me if I'm misquoting, the positive charge, the negative charge of the earth. I think it's the positive charge of the earth. Basically fills and connects through your skin to get into your bloodstream, increasing your oxygen flow, and um, therefore speeding up the process of healing. Okay, so that's the briefest synopsis I know how to give. Um, so this is the concept, the most important health discovery ever. So this book came with the earthing mat that I got. I went to earthing.com and I purchased like an $80 mat, which goes on your bed. And I used to use the Beamer. Those of you who've been around a minute or know what that is, it's a device that uses electricity to accomplish this same feature with earthing, but it does approximately 8 hours. If you were barefoot outside for 8 hours, the same benefits your body would get from that, it gives you in 8 minutes of laying on this mat. That is a very expensive device. I think it's like, I don't remember. I think it's like a $6,000 purchase of a mat. So that was something that a family member of mine had, and I used to use. But once since all that has happened, you were such a good boy. I have basically needed to recreate some things myself that I no longer have access to. That was really the main item I think that I had access to that I needed to redo, because everything else, like the frequency machine, was a purchase that that's been for me and it's mine and I've kept it. So grateful for that. So the earthing mat that I got. You're such a good boy. He really wants to play, and I really need to take him somewhere. I'm trying to get your ball, buddy. So the earthing mat has made a huge, huge, huge difference. So that's something that you can get from that website. I'm trying to also like list prices, so you understand what you might or might not be getting yourself into. Go get it. And so that's like a one-time purchase item. The mat, in my opinion, is not the best quality material. The material itself is actually like literally disintegrating, at least the top part material, in the last 6-8 months. So it lasted pretty well about a year, or almost a year. But having that mat and using it, so it might need replacing every couple of years, but no big deal. Or you can purchase the one that's for the whole bed, whatever size bed you have, but I think that that's in the $300 range. So whatever's more worth it to you. I'm just saying that the one that's a skinnier, like one person sized, uh, um, like piece of fabric with elastic that goes on one side of the bed or across the middle section of the bed, so two people can kind of lay with their backs on it or whatever, a part of their back on it. That one is of lesser quality. Now I also though sweat insane. I have to be so warm in order to sleep deeply. Sleep is a huge topic I haven't even talked about yet. Oh my gosh, guys. But I'm not seeing anyone here interacting, which is kind of surprising. I know I didn't announce the time, but last time there was like dozens of people. So I just want to make sure that the live is showing up correctly. Um, but all that to say, sleep is a huge topic to go over. I will probably cover that at the end because it's really important to talk about. But um, the FSM mat improved my sleep a ton. In order to sleep well, I need to be so warm that I'm sweating bullets. So I think that one reason why the mat hasn't like retained its integrity over the course of time has been because it's just mixed with a lot of, you know, moisture, but it's not on top of the bed sheet, it's underneath the bed sheet. Some people put it probably underneath the bed sheet and then underneath the top sheet, or whatever other mats or whatever. I have like rubber sheets for the process of sweating that it doesn't go below that into the bed itself. So I have that grounding mat between the rubber sheet and then the top sheet. Um, so that's probably why the material has, not been. But I just that's the way I chose to use it. So that is what it is. Okay. So the grounding mat, the first night I tried it, I will say I felt such a huge difference. I think I slept so deeply. It possibly made me a little bit nauseous. I was going through, so you have to understand how layered of an aspect there, how much layering there is to healing over the course of 16 years for me. Um, there are things I'm sure that if I tried it back when I started and just discovered my brain injury and the effects, and I was still having breathing issues, I think I think that if I had tried hyperbaric oxygen back then, it could have spared me decades of pain. I think if I had tried grounding back then, it could have healed me drastically, very quickly. I think if I had tried, um, well, everything at once that I do now back then, I don't know if it would have been too much for my system, honestly, because I just don't know. But the things that I'm trying now and have tried in the last year that I've been adding have been um, have both like had a pretty instant relief or a positive effect, but also sometimes either seem to resurrect old pain or resurrect an old pain response my body has, or they kind of make things worse before they make things better. That is something I learned to expect because of my doctor, who had the heart attack and passed away. But that's that's something that might not be for everyone to experience. I don't know. I just don't know. So all I can say is the grounding mat made me a ton better and helped a ton. It helps you recover deeper sleep. It's just amazing. It has been one of the best additions I could have had. Um, where's your bone? But um, it might you might try it and feel nauseous. You might try it and feel anxiety. You might try it and it tries to resolve too much for you. I don't know. I just know that only I have tried it and I've had somebody with anxiety try it, and it I think that from the blood flow and the sped up oxygen in their system, it made them have more heat in their body through the night, and it made them feel more stressed and anxious, and they stopped trying it. Um, but with that grounding mat came two pairs of grounding shoes, and those grounding shoes that other person has tried and kept trying, and they make a huge difference. So that's the first thing that I started to use, those shoes. Okay, back when I was doing FSM treatments with wet towels in my bed, I was only treating my upper body. So my lower body was remaining pretty well numb cold. Around my thighs, my knees down. I've it started in my feet, but it's like worked its way slowly up. I have like this sense of numb level, cold, freezing, you know, ice cold going on, that in order to unfreeze, like get my feet back down to temperature, let alone feel any kind of warmth, it usually takes about 2 hours of being wrapped up in an electrical blanket. I did not treat my lower half intentionally with FSM because I wanted to know the difference between what it was doing for my hands to unfreeze my hands, because my hands also had that issue, versus my lower half. So then when I put those shoes on, it was crazy because I'm telling you, 20 minutes later, um, it was just like I could feel my feet for the first time. It was crazy. So that has made a huge difference. That's pretty cheap. That's something I will always happily promote, is the grounding mat. Again, this is the book that came with it, Earthing. I got it from earthing.com. I think you could just look up grounding.com or earthing.com. Um, huge, huge, huge benefit to me. I think it will be to everybody. So that's been very helpful. All the other things, by the way, that I've done or taken or written about are listed on the CPS website. So let me just take a second to post that my story in the chat here. So the other thing that made a huge difference in tandem with the grounding mat was actually just biting the bullet to get a bed that I am only exclusively and solely using with that grounding mat. And I attached the FSM machine to the grounding mat. And I am only sleeping there for as long as I can. So I'm not spending a single night in a hotel. I sleep really well in my hammock, but I'm not sleeping in my hammock. I'm not spending the night in anyone else's couch or bed or anything. Where before I was very strict about it, but the last couple years I've lived in a variety of places and had to sleep on air mattresses or different places that are less comfortable for me. So once I kind of had the option to get my own bed, I did, and I have kept very intentionally only sleeping in it and only always with that grounding mat and the FSM. And I believe that that has made a huge difference in the last year, but especially because I've combined it with the second main thing that I've done, which has been chiropractic care. So, sorry, I'm just putting the stories. No, patient. Sorry, hyphen stories. Okay, my story, that should be the link. It's been a minute. That my story, if you click on that patient stories cps.foundation link, I'm the first story in category 2, CNS injury. And I have not updated my story with all the information I'm sharing right now about these 3 other main things. So that's where you can find links and much more info about all of the specific medicines I take. I haven't talked about, sorry, also I'm getting a little side note distracted once more because this book is mentioned there, Switch on Your Brain. And I have a link to that book and explanations brief of what that is. I have a link to the video I keep referring to that I did, the former live video I did in this group. But this specific book has made a huge, huge difference. Okay, getting back to where I am here. A huge difference in my process of just comprehending my own personal ability, I believe God-given, of controlling my brain with my mind and being in control of my thoughts, which affect the shape and function of the brain, which affects the experience of the body. So that has been a life changer for me. Dr. Caroline Leaf is incredible. If you don't follow her on podcasts or Instagram or anywhere else you want to follow her, she is incredible. She has a lot more recent books called Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess and the neurocycle she teaches. But this is a classic for me, and so that is just one huge feature for both myself, and I know Tim has mentioned that before. He used the same techniques from this doctor, and then he used ketamine infusions to and techniques from Dr. Kuttner to basically reduce the pain from the ketamine infusions, use neuroplasticity to change his brain, and then experience such massive reductions in pain that over the course of time and consistency, and I'm sure a lot of spiritual parts too, he actually is now completely CPS pain free. So that his story, meeting him and going over information about that. Tim is still in this group, by the way, so you can search Tim and find more information of posts he's made and reach out to him. But I know he's also in grandpa mode right now, and so he's like, those of us who go through healing through CPS and reduction of pain, we many times just kind of quickly want to get on with our lives. So please be very understanding and forgiving for those of us who seem to be getting better and kind of disappear. We don't mean to not continue to wallow in our suffering with you guys. We want to share what we've done, and we want to live our lives. And I know that I'm not going to speak for anyone, but I know that many other people have gone through other things that have helped them, reduction of pain, getting on with things in their life, and sometimes we come back all together because we go through more things that cause more pain. Sometimes, it's never a linear journey. But I know that for myself, Tim's story was the first one that gave me some hope, other than Dr. Forrest Tennant saying that magical word, which I heard him say on the video that I mentioned, that first video Dr. Forrest Tennant did that I saw, that 45-minute video, like the hormone protocol one that he talked about. That was where I heard him say the word reversible. I believe the exact words he said were the effects of which are proving or showing to be potentially reversible. Might have been the way he worded it, but all I heard was reversible, and I clung to that with all of the might and force that I had. And that's where I was like, I'm gonna use HCG. I'm gonna use it for at least 7 years. I'm gonna get the full effects of what it's gonna do. I might be on it forever, but I mean, I became my own advocate and determined for my case far beyond the capability even of anyone else around me. Other family members or other people supporting me or whatever were massively supportive or helpful or easily discouraged, or but they were on my team for the most part, but they were not me, and I was my own fiercest advocate. And that's something you have to take on if you want to experience healing through anything. So, okay, the next thing that has made a huge difference, you might have noticed this whole time that I'm wearing a shirt. It says "Expect Miracles." This shirt is from my chiropractor. So my chiropractor has made a huge difference. Now, I was terrified of going to the chiropractor for a long time, because when I was doing competitive equestrian sport, I was getting occasional adjustments, which were using that computerized device that would go beep, 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 beep. And then they would like find a spot that needed adjusting and go da 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 da. And I don't know what it's called. I just know that that harsh of an adjustment on my body it felt like I would go home and some tectonic plate would shift in my spine, causing a literal tsunami of flu fever symptoms and entire dysfunctionality for 4 solid days. Could not get out of bed, could not function. So that was a huger, a huge and major blow to my, confidence, but also functionality in those days. And so I became very discouraged with chiropractic. I stopped going. I stopped believing I could be a candidate for it. I became very afraid of the potential with it. Um, and then I just like never. I was like I swore like never again. Then I've let people into this group or had conversations with people in this group who have who have CPS as a result of a chiropractic adjustment, or there's just crazy injuries that happen. I was very nervous to go see a chiropractor. So this woman was telling me about her chiropractor, and I was, for some reason, I don't know why, because usually, and if you've been in pain long enough, like people will be very well intended and kind in their attempts to help. Oh, have you tried dot dot? Oh, have you heard of blah blah? And when we're in a frame of mind of just not hearing it, like we, and or being being very set on our path, it's just not some like we just don't want to entertain the conversation, but we want to be kind and get out of that conversation as quickly as possible. So, for whatever reason, when she was telling me about her chiropractor, I kind of had like a 1% part of my ear that was like maybe I'll look more into this method, right? Because it's possible that my spine has been through like enough reduction of other things. And then I had this movement specialist like feel, my spine and explain that this is this way because this and that's that way. And I showed them the holes in my shoes. They were uneven and they're like, oh, that's because you're standing this way to compensate for this because of that injury. He broke it down to the T, the way of what I've experienced. And I was just like, what he's saying is that like both from movement, posture, and habit, I'm holding my spine in these different ways, but I'm compensating because the pain, but it's all because my spine's out of alignment. And I haven't had it aligned in so long. So from that 1% of willingness to pay attention to this woman and her experience, and it felt kind of like a divine appointment, honestly. So all of that to say, I found out information about this clinic. There are a team of doctors. They do X-rays before anything. They do scans. They specialize and have seen people with extremely sensitive bodies like myself. They adjust only up to 5 spots at a time, and on me, they typically do 3 at a time. And they have a lighter tool. They have a heavier tool. The heavier tool uses about a pound of pressure. It's called the activator method. It's like this tool that they like load up and then they trigger, and it uses like just one spot. So it's a very fascinating method to me, and they took so much time with me to just let me absorb the process before I ever committed, paid $1, or had an adjustment. So I will say the fact that they took their time with me. But this is something that I came to the realization. I got the bed, I got the grounding mat. I realized this would probably be the next step, and that if I could possibly accept, my body could accept these adjustments and I could straighten out my spine, that that really may affect central pain syndrome drastically. I also knew that it may take a very long time, and I needed to learn to be patient in the process. Um, I am a want to get it all done now, want to, like, I have this very black and white way. I want to rush through healing and just experience results right away. I want to go gung ho. I want to go skydiving. Like, that's kind of me. So to have to slow it down was very difficult. But my body has been making me slow down for 16 years, and I have had to accept it over the course of time. But then to kind of do it all over again with more doctors who are literally listening to my body, even when I am like, no, adjust more. Hey, what about this spot? Hey, that still hurts. Can you do something here? What about this? They're just like, well, your body's saying this. So we're going to take it slow. And accepting that and dealing with it has been a very difficult thing for me, but has all like it's been a good challenge for me because I need to get better at accepting those things in all areas of life. But it's been quite a journey. So that specific chiropractor and the adjustments they give using the activator method has been the single most thing in the last year, in combination with the earthing mat, as I mentioned, getting my own bed, which I didn't even mention. I use the Amerisleep AS5. Personally, I need very cushy, very, very, very plush. So I found the top rated mattress in the nation for people with back pain, people who are heavyweight or pregnant, um, and people who have like chronic pain issues. So the AS5 Amerisleep was what I found. It's honestly perfect for me, but it doesn't feel soft enough to my brain, but my body says it's right. So it works really well. Um, in addition, the third thing I'm going to add in just a second here, but in order to help my body keep the chiropractic adjustments, because now I've been seeing them for July last year, so a year and a month, and I expect to continue to need these minor. I go once a week now for chiropractor adjustments. I expect to need another 1 to 2 years of treatments in order for my spine to actually be like in alignment. It's been a very slow, I've called it deep spinal reconstruction. However, again, know that I'm coming from a place of not ever having gone to the hospital for actual spinal cord injury. I do not have broken bones. I've not had surgery. There are so many other people in this group who actually can claim, spinal cord reconstruction, deep spinal cord injury, scoliosis. Others all. I'm speaking from my perspective, and so I just think that if you can possibly look into this idea of these very, very, very minor touches and changes over the course of a lot of time, this particular activator method of chiropractic care is absolutely worth looking into for those of us with central pain syndrome. Um, I think slow and long. My process to healing, again, back to the prayer thing, I've prayed for years and years for an instantaneous healing. And I believe for the last many years, God has chosen to give me an incremental healing with some occasional times where there have been instantaneous, massive reductions of pain that have remained. And I am functional today because of like those experiences as well. So that's been my experience. But this incremental thing is extremely important. I think, especially that I have gone through it, because I believe that my story is intended to be a bit of a lark, a bit of a phoenix story, and a bit of a beacon of hope for others. So, as I have gone through deep and slow and long pain, I've also gone through deep and slow and long healing, and am continuing to be on what I've called for years now. I am on an upward spiral of healing. So that's my suggestion with the chiropractor. Again, it's called the activator method. I've mentioned about 4 times now. I'm located in Central Florida, so if anyone else here is privy to my area or can meet, I'd be happy to chat with you personally. I know there's plenty of people here who are in this area. If we haven't, chatted before, don't hesitate to reach out. My Facebook, obviously, profile, you guys can add me. You can send me messages. My number should be listed through my Facebook. My business, my own personal dog training business, is connected through my Facebook page, and my number's like out there, so you guys can find me. Okay, the third and final thing I wanted to talk about, but before I talk about that, I wanted to bring up one more thing, which is as I got the chiropractic care and started that, I realized I really need to set my body up for success to receive and retain these adjustments through as consistent of a process of what I'm sitting on, what I'm laying on, what I'm standing on, right? So I purchased some pairs of UFOs shoes because I need super plush, super duper plush. I only use UFOs shoes now. So I use a couple different pairs for different occasions, but I only use UFOs. Again, everything I'm suggesting is just stuff I've tried that I don't have any like personal benefit from. So UFOs, I found a really helpful desk chair. I've also found such a comfortable couch and chair. They are not here yet. So right now I'm only sitting in my desk chair in a comfortable for me chair at the counter, and I pretty much honestly I sit in my car seat cushions, which I'm going to mention here in a second, and then I sit in my bed and I lay in my bed, and that is pretty much it. If I'm at someone's house, if I do sit for a minute, I try really hard to sit proper. I stand a lot with what I do for work. I walk a lot with what I do for work. I'm very careful and intentional with my body about, since getting chiropractic adjustments, about not slouching, not lounging, not I have to be really keen on that. But it's before the chiropractic adjustments, I was uncomfortable no matter what I did, and now it's like I'm only uncomfortable when I can tell that I'm doing reverse progress, or I'm doing more harm or damage to my spine after an adjustment. So those are the kind of things that you might only find benefit of, what helps you and what supports your body the most as you get adjusted, versus that you necessarily need cushions and the right things now, because if your spine's out of line, I don't know. I can't make a suggestion. I really can't. I'm not a medical professional. Just know that both things helped me. You may find benefit from getting a cushion or getting a comfy chair and then getting adjusted, or getting adjusted and then getting a comfy chair. I don't know. I'm not going to make a claim, but on what will help you in what order. I got the Cushion Lab pillow that's got a part in the middle that's kind of dropped down. So that's the pillow I got from them. That has made a huge difference on my neck. I got the Cushion Lab. It's technically for a seat like this, but the lumbar support pillow, and I got the desk chair size, it's thick cushion that you sit on. There's also one for the car, but it's about that thin. And instead, I decided to get the thicker one. Again, I prefer and my body responds better to super deep plush. So I got the thicker one, and that's in my car. And as a direct result of using that always while driving and sitting there, being very intentional, always maneuvering the lumbar support to exactly where it fits right. Because I drive long hours, like I said, I drive a lot. And then sitting basically only in this chair. This time of me talking and sitting here has been a longer time than I typically spend in this chair, but sometimes I'm editing on my computer or working on videos for an extended period of time. Um, but I'm also careful to walk and I ride my bike. And I mean, I got custom handlebars for my bike even so that when I sit on my beach cruiser, it's like I'm more propped up and I'm not leaning forward and putting pressure on my shoulder. So every little thing that I can make a decision on and bring into my space of like this is affecting how I'm holding up my spine throughout the day has made a massive difference to aid the chiropractic adjustments. So again, I'm talking about the three main things this year at this point that have helped me the most in the last year. And why just in the last year? Because I have experienced so much healing in the last 1 year. Like it's been refreshing, unexpected. Definitely, I mean, I attribute it all to God. It's been such a helpful blessing. I am only able to function, run my life, have my dog, take him everywhere, and run my business because of the healing, specifically in the last year. Even up until a year ago, I was needing help with um, meal planning, cooking. Um, I went through episodes for 2 years. This was related to the emotional stuff that I went through, but I went through episodes for 2 years where every single day, or maybe every other day, but at least 4 to 6 times a week, I was having multiple episodes of throwing up every single day. Um, and so, just from the violence that is to the body of like, you know, whacking out the neck and spine and collarbone and all of this was so traumatic and painful because it was my brain and body connecting the trauma I had been through 3 years, 2 years prior. That's how long it took my body to process through and start to accept and start to actually show physical signs of processing through everything. So up until a year ago, I was still needing somebody who was kind of my at least part-time like caregiver in that way, who could, you know, help me with meals. If I couldn't drive, they could drive me somewhere. I'm telling you, like, well, and I wasn't as much needing to be driven. I was very much functional, but I was running things on a more part-time basis and having like part-time help. So as of the last 1 year, this I'm telling you that these three things that have made a difference have been the reason why I'm completely solo functional, right? I've always had someone to care for me, help me. I've always lived with someone. The last year I've been completely alone and also managed myself alone and my dog. And that is a huge jump for someone with central pain syndrome. So I know that these modalities, these additional things that have had a huge impact for my healing, have been necessary and a direct correlation to what's been required of me just in changing my physical space to be from living with someone to being alone. But they have made that possible. So I hope that this gives you some hope, because you probably, in going through central pain syndrome, were not someone who lived alone. If you were, though, you probably had to go back to having care, and it's very disheartening. It's very difficult. And if you were not living alone before, but a very large portion of independent, and now you've gone to being more dependent on someone you live with or a family member or a spouse, it's a lot. It's a huge adjustment. It's really hard on them. It's really hard on you. It's, you know, what can I say about it? So why I'm bringing these bits of info to you with such conviction is because I know what it's like to go through depending on others, and especially when you want to or believe you could be, or know that otherwise you could be independent. And now to go from that to being able to be independent the last year has been such a crazy huge change, and a good thing for me. And I believe you can experience the same. So the last and final, and honestly most beneficial, most impactful thing um, that has made a difference in the last year. This is something that um, I made a video, a personal video about the day that I received them in the mail, because I wanted to make a little bit of like a drop a pin. This is what I did this day. This is how much pain I was in this day, because this could be it. Like this could be it, right? And I really don't believe any one thing is the it that we hope and wish it is. Um, I've discovered from having CPS for 16 years that like things like we have a toolbox like we talk about, and we can pull from other people's ideas and toolboxes and add to ours, try things, but we all in the end come up with our own specific toolbox of what works for us. And I think he deliberately put his bone underneath my chair, so he's digging it now. Hang on. Did you get it? Oh, there it is. Get it. He's just starting to learn now at 8 months that he can kind of like push things under the couch to get my help, and push things under the chair, and push things under the counter. But well, you're such a good boy. He's really such a good dog. So all of that is, I'm sure like kind of along, again, all of this is like a really long forward. I'm now going to drop for you the link that again, there's no benefit I have financially from sharing this. This is connected to my account, but it's not, it actually goes to my person. It says object moved. So is that not the link that works? Let me see. No, I don't know. But I think that's the link that works. So I'm gonna reply to that comment and put her information here. So write a comment as a reply, I believe. This is my friend Susan Wurzelbacher. She's not in this group. She's not a central pain syndrome patient. This is what it is. It's called LifeWave. It's stem cell generating patches. So she was telling me about this. This is something that is a item that people sell. Okay, I do not sell these. She sells them. I asked her specifically to make my account such that I can't make money, because I don't want to, because I wanted to promote it to you guys in the group. I wanted to try it for as long as I could to gain an understanding of what I could say, how much it's helped me, before promoting it in the group and be able to share with you guys. Oh, her number's on my phone. Let me see if I can pull it out from a part of my computer here. So that I could, pass that along to you guys, and hopefully share like benefit, good boy, to don't bump the computer. Go get it. Good boy. To you guys, because this has been such, oh, that's on my other computer. Sorry, I've got too many keyboards and stuff going on here. Susan. Okay. I'm gonna find her number and attach it to the comments here. I don't know why it's not showing up. Sorry, guys. Okay, so this is, I guess, a lot of people probably know about this already. Um, here's what I do know, because I'm not a scientist. Again, I'm not a doctor. I haven't even done as near a deep dive on this information as she has. She is awesome. So, reason I'm giving you Susan's information, I gave you a link to how you might be able to register to get them, I believe, but I would suggest that if you're a person, if you're even remotely interested in trying um, the idea of stem cell patches, call her, text her, get in touch with her. She's wonderful. She was a dog training client of mine, who then started doing this and was telling me, hey, I have different people who've had back injuries, who've had head injuries, who've had, just things that sounded as severe, more severe. Sounded to me like a lot of the cases she was giving me a study on were honestly central pain syndrome cases. And I was like, this really sounds like it could help me. And I was a little hesitant to try it because of needing to work it into my budget. But again, I'm trying to give you guys pricing on everything. Back to it really briefly. The chiropractor, my specific chiropractor, over the course of 13 months now, I believe has been around the $3,000 range, and I've been paying for it monthly. I worked it into my budget. It became a really big priority for me, and I realized I need to prioritize this in my budget. So I spend around 200 to 300 a month on a monthly recurring thing with them. And that's probably, you're going to find, if you use the activator method and find good chiropractor team, you're probably going to find around $45-50 an adjustment will be their price. So that was so worth it to me, and I was able to cut things out and add things according to what has been, so I've really this last year assessed so many options for add this, add that, add this for healing, and I've had to be very picky choosy, and I'm very glad that I went with the 3 things that I'm telling you about, specifically the grounding mat, the bed / cushions / shoes, and the chiropractor and the patches that I'm telling you about now. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to. I forgot to pull her number out of my phone before doing this, and so now I'm trying to scramble and pull it from a message on my computer because I have all the messages, but it's not syncing properly with the cloud. So for whatever reason, my conversation with her is not pulling out. So okay, here's her number. Okay, so I can. Where was I commenting that? I'm so sorry. Thanks for the patience with me. So, okay, this is what the patches do. They stimulate a copper peptide response in your own body. So your body, as a result, creates its own stem cells. That's about the technical extent to which I understand this. So, thanks for bringing your tennis ball, buddy. Can you get it? Get your tennis ball. Go get it. Go get it. And so it's a patch that looks like, I don't know. It's a little I can't see where my video's at here. Okay. There we go. So it's a little like round sticker patch that I put at somewhere on my C spine, somewhere on my T spine, or somewhere on my L spine. That's what I've done. You wear it for 12 hours, you take it off for 12 hours, you put another one on. It's $100 a month, I believe. $150 a month if you don't want to sign up or something, and then like you can pay $100 a month if you create a recurring order by the month. she was telling me that people who to me sounded like they had, what a good boy, sounded like they had central pain syndrome, or at least some massive injury. Some of these people had had pain for years, back injury, back pain. Some of these people had a virus or had pain for, shorter time. But she was telling me a lot of stories of people trying the patches and in one use, trying the patches and in 1 week, trying the patches and in 1 month, experiencing like complete relief of pain. And everything that kind of sounds like too good to be true, we're kind of used to being like, ah, that's too good to be true. So that's how I was feeling. But she is such a helpful person who just wants, is keen to just help people, that I was like, she's not trying to, take advantage of me. And it's only like like if anything, it will be like a $300 to $600 potential investment that might not result in what I need, which in the realm of things expensive, I know there's those of us here who've like done deep brain stimulation for $25,000 and it didn't work or made you worse, and that's absolutely crazy to me. The things that we, I don't mean crazy like you're crazy. I just mean like it's crazy to me that we can spend that much money and go through that invasive of a process for something that should help us, that makes it worse or doesn't help. And it's like, that is devastating. So when someone's like, oh yeah, this thing will help and blah blah blah, whatever, it sounds like a miracle cure. Of course, we're understandably unsure. So again, guys, I'm trying to move my tabs and stuff around so I can get this phone number posted. Okay, so her name is Susan Wurzelbacher. Her number is 321. I'm putting this in the comment under the Life Wave, but I might put it in a separate comment too. 321 987 4433. She's a lovely person. Just like I said, if you want to find out more about those patches, good boy, just get in touch with her. I know there's a, sorry guys for the barking. Shh, hush. Thank you. That's enough. Enough. Good. Very good boy. Shh. I know. Right? Very good. There's a little, I happen to live right where the dog poop station is. So when there's people out there with their little yappy dog picking up their poop and the dog still barks at something, shh, hush, it's right outside my place. So he's become my good guard dog. What a good boy. Very good. Shh, sorry for the noise, guys. So, hey. Hey. That's good. Very good. Shh. Good. So these patches have, I gotta get into the information about them in terms of the difference they've made, because I think I'm just taking way too long to get into this information. I'm sorry, guys. Thanks for sticking with me. I usually don't talk this long about something. I don't usually do a live this long, but then again, I did a couple years ago. It was a little bit easier when it's easier to do lives like this when there's people like constantly commenting, asking questions, and you're kind of keeping the conversation rolling. But also, I've honestly been mentally preparing for this live video to give you guys for the last year, because I've been thinking like, once I did the grounding mat, it was like, wow, that's such a huge difference. I gotta mention that. I think I might have made a post about it. I did the chiropractic adjustments, like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I have to share this method and how much help it's made for me with other people, also with central pain syndrome people. But like, I don't know if chiropractic cares for everyone. I just know that my spine was out of line and pinching a lot of places and hurting a lot of extra pain, adding a lot of extra pain, and that was something necessary for me at this stage to start to address. But then when these patches came into my world last November and I started using them, I've honestly been mentally and emotionally preparing to share this info with you guys since then. I've just been trying to figure out how to best share it because I wanted to try them for long enough to know beyond the shadow of a doubt how much difference they're making for me, what exactly they're doing for me in order to share with you guys um, from a perspective of like this is so worth trying. Um, I'm really not trying to promote anything that maybe you shouldn't try. But here's the thing, of the things I've mentioned, let's just go down the list briefly here. So, hormones. This is something everyone has and already is created. HCG is beneficial for men and women. Oxytocin. This is something created in the brain of both men and women. Already natural. Okay. FSM, frequencies, using 100 microamps to infuse the cells with ATP of up to 500%, using frequencies that resonate with the cells at that specific function resonance for that specific cell, for that specific ailment. FSM works 100% of the time as long as you have what you're treating. That's why I recommended that all of you guys try the inflammation frequency, because probably everyone can benefit from it. If you've had a concussion, the concussion treatment will help you. If you've not had a concussion and you run the concussion treatment, you're not going to find benefit from it because you did not have a concussion. So try something else. That's why I'm suggesting try inflammation. But there's other frequencies that surely can help you with other ailments as well. Oxygen and hyperbaric oxygen, which I've started recently helping, also earthing and blood flow and the quickening of oxygen to the brain and body as a result. All of this stuff, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. This is not specific to stroke, specific to concussion, specific. These are all things that have been in the conversation of benefit for healing and pain, intractable pain, chronic pain, short-term pain, long-term pain for decades now. Using neuroplasticity, using techniques of recognizing how we're thinking about our pain. These are all things that are recognized in the scientific community and slow to be recognized in the doctor community because doctors, I don't want to add too much opinion there, but doctors are slow to accept what scientists find sometimes when it comes to brain information, because there's just so much we don't know about the brain that doctors never want to say anything. I understand it, I get it. They don't want to say anything that could get them in trouble if they get ahead of themselves. Scientists can make crazy claims and may or may not have a direct lawsuit linking them to their crazy words in doctors' opinions, and doctors have to CYA. So I get it, but all that to say, all of this information, everything I'm bringing to you is like well accepted in the pain community. Stem cell patches, stem cells, well accepted as an item and way of treating and healing things. So the fact that these patches, what I was struck by was because I was looking into stem cell therapy more than a decade ago, back when it was controversial, I guess I could say. So the fact that this patch will use your own, will cause your body to generate its own stem cells is something that I was really impressed by. And again, it was within my budget range to try because it's like $100 a month. So I think that I started the program for like getting it every month, and if it was going to help me within a week and boom, I'm healed, I was going to just like cancel. And she was like, that's fine, you can stop anytime, blah blah blah. So here's how I remember the year from November going till now. I've not had any massive, I put the patch on one day and it's just like I wake up the next day completely painless experience. But I have had a progression of, especially depending on where I put the patch on my spine, since I'm mostly using my spine. If I put it on the mid spine, because that's where a lot of, for me, the trauma related to the swine flu and the caterpillar venom kind of got stuck. Um, that's what creates a response of like a fever flu response for my body, where my body's telling me stop for the love of all things holy and stop moving and get into bed and don't come out for a week. So if I get adjusted with a chiropractor to my mid spine, and that's typically like a very difficult area to treat anyways. So that's been my experience. If I put a patch on, so I had a chiropractic adjustment to my mid spine that caused, like I said, that fever flu response for a couple days. That was one of the first adjustments I had to the mid spine. It was back probably last fall or in January perhaps, um, and that felt like a setback. It felt like a progress at the same time, because I'm like, look, you obviously hit and activated something that needed to resolve. And maybe if we do it again, it won't be as bad. We'll see. So I'm probably a really good guinea pig, because I really genuinely don't mind having more pain in order to have pain resolved. Because I'm just like that desperate to get out of pain. So that's what decades of pain will do to you. It'll make you desperate, and that you're like, yeah, sure, you can cut off my arm if it'll heal the rest of my body. That's fine. So, um, so they, once they had found that the mid spine adjustment gave me that response, I then put a patch on that spot on the mid spine, and it gave me a similar fever flu response. So I patched or did patching there for like at least a week or two, and it reduced a massive amount of pain. Like, it stopped giving me that fever flu response. I can now put patches on the middle of my spine there, and I might have a little bit more pain in my mid back area, but it does not create a fever flu response. I don't like, it's crazy. So upper spine, between my two shoulder blades is where I have a lot of pain. So I put the patch there a lot. I remember, and I've tried really hard to document along the way the last year what has made a big difference when and how, so that I at least have record. Because here's the thing I realized about pain: when back in 2018 I was having massive pain relief waves and waves and waves of reduction of pain with FSM and the hormones, was once those waves hit me and the pain was like taken back, I use that analogy, like the ocean wave tumbles and then it like takes back the water. Like, the pain relief hit me, and then I was no longer experiencing imminent immediate pain relief. The brain and us, we forget the pain we're no longer in. Once I realized that and accepted that, I realized that my healing journey might seem like I'm only really aware of the pain that I'm still in, and so I'm just going to continue to feel pain and be sad about it and have big emotions about it, because that's what I'm experiencing in the moment, and I forgot what happened yesterday. I forgot the pain I'm not experiencing right now. So once I realized that that was going to be kind of the experience of like reduced pain, was like, awesome, reduced pain. Oh, I'm still in pain. Awesome, reduced pain. Oh, I'm still in pain, right? Um, that's that's why I try to document so meticulously and carefully how much pain I'm in, what I did with a patch, where, why, how. So I remember reaching out to Susan around Christmas or the New Year and just being like, yeah, it's at least 30% of my pain has just like reduced, like gone down. There's been at least a 30% improvement of my pain. That was after basically, like I said, about a month to 2 months of using the patches. then throughout the spring, I just really wanted to give it, you guys, like a solid almost year at least of patching before I even said anything to you guys, because I needed to know that it wasn't going to get better than worse, and suddenly I promoted something or shared something with you guys that, like, would have a similar effect for you guys. So please know I did not hold this information back on purpose to delay more pain for you, but I wanted to share it when I knew, like, I could kind of guinea pig these things and discover what I might suggest you might expect, because we share the same condition. So, so I'm so sorry it's taken me like 2 hours in this live, guys, to get to all this, like, this more updated information, but I really think that anyone who watches this will find great benefit from. So in the spring, I experienced just again, like, just pain. Like, it was pretty succinct. Like, especially the more I used the patches correctly, because I was very bad about not using them 12 hours on, 12 hours off. I need 12 hours of sleep, and the timing on that is very erratic. Sleep sleep might need to be its own other live, guys. Sorry, because it's just such an in-depth topic. So I might have to end this live without really delving deep into that. But the grounding mat has made a huge difference for me. Trazodone, I suggest. That's all in my story. You guys can find that. And most recently, I'm gonna be adding progesterone, because and that I'm getting from a hormone clinic. So they're giving me like supplemental progesterone. So there's a lot of conversations we could have about sleep, but I'm not going to get into it. The patches have helped with sleep. The earthing mat has helped with sleep. Everything I'm mentioning has helped me with sleep. So just know that if sleep is a struggle for you, these things could possibly help you too. Um, then through the summer, what happened with these patches, and this is kind of what prompted me to want to do this live a little bit before the year mark, was that so that it's still fresh on my mind, honestly. So with the LifeWave patches, what happened was I ended up accidentally going a month without them and had only the patches for inflammation. Now, the patches for inflammation don't, in my immediate awareness, cause such a drastic difference that I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm inflammationless. If I run an 8-hour frequency of inflammation, I feel the difference. If I do a patch for inflammation, I don't feel the difference. So I was using for a month just the inflammation patches. It's a long story how that happened, but basically, like, my one card, and then I didn't call the company, and I was really busy. It kept getting like slip, 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 push back, push back, push back. All of a sudden, a month had gone by, and I was like, yeah, I'm in more pain now. Like, I'm definitely, like, I can tell that I've not been using the patches, and were making a really big difference. So then I kind of was like, I'm really excited to get them next month to see how big of a difference. And boy, howdy was I surprised. So when I put the patches back on so I went a month without them. Okay, so like, what is this? November, the end of November. So end of December, end of January, end of March, or sorry, wow, I can count. January, February, March, April, May, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, I think was July. July I went without them, I'm pretty sure. So I went 7 months with patches, 1 month without, and then started them again in August. And oh my goodness, it was like an immediate whammo of pain relief when I went back to using them after going a month without them. And I became habitually, yet again, slightly negligent when it comes to the timing of how to use them. I'm not good about the 12 on, 12 off thing. Um, that's just my own admittance of lack of discipline around having an alarm and following it for many reasons. But I started, so like, when did I put it on? It's been more than 12 hours. It's on my mid spine now. So I started putting it on in the evening before going to bed and leaving it on basically until it kind of falls off, which always happens before the next night's sleep. But either it kind of falls off for it's ready to come off or it's itching or I take it off. It's supposed to be 12 hours on. It though it lasts its effects I think can last for like 15, 18 hours. So I was like, why am I going to only use it for 12 hours if it could possibly have benefit for 18? Susan explained the reasoning behind it. I understand it intellectually. I accept it like mentally and intellectually, but I emotionally, I'm just like, I'm going to keep using it as long as I can. So, what I've been doing since August, since getting them again, is like I said, just putting it on, leaving it on, and I have had so much additional pain relief in the last 1 month. And I don't know if it's because I'm using the patches not 12 on, 12 off, or if it's because I just went back to using them when I didn't for a month. But guys, I, and that's why when I said the pain scale of how I'm doing today, it's like it's even hard to gauge still because I don't feel the pain I'm no longer in. But I'm in a huge amount of pain reduction. The fact that I can sit here for a couple hours and mention what's been happening, like have this conversation. There's just a lot of pain relief that's taken place. I told you also about functionality of what I'm doing for work and how I can do that. I attribute not needing help in order to function on a daily basis, doing it myself, doing doing things myself the way you know my life is going the last year, like I've told you, I attribute it directly to the chiropractic care, the grounding mat, the cushioning around those things in terms of my bed, the shoes, the cushions, the pillow, and these stem cell patches. I think that these stem cell patches have made a massive difference in my body accepting the chiropractic adjustments and healing each step of the way along the adjustments and adding pain relief and the beginning of freedom of motion and these types of things. So just know that I'm bringing all this information to you with such conviction in my heart, knowing that this has made ultimate, huge, insane difference for me. I was frozen in a spine lockup, hyperventilating in order to breathe, mentally, cognitively dysfunctional to the point of not being able to string together a sentence many days. And over the course of, 16 years, going through lots and lots of pain like that changes you as a person. And in the last, since really what I started, the first thing I started was the oxytocin of all of this, and that was in 2016. So for the last 8 years, I've been, you know, so half of that time of having CPS, I've been adding in these different pieces and parts. And I believe that I've gone through at least half, if not 80% of a healing experience physically. Probably more healing than that mentally, in terms of cognitively, brain function. And I believe a whole heck of a lot extra healing that is on its way emotionally from all the stuff I've been through. That's probably the one that's lagging. Physical healing has been coming first. Brain healing, functionality, that's been happening as well as a result of all of this, and the things that are in my story that I mentioned on the CPS website, and the emotional side of healing of things from what I've been through trauma wise that will continue to take place as time goes on, and I'm sure I'll have more information about how that's going, because there's a few other methods. There's other people in Central Florida I can connect you with that do other things that could help, but I haven't started them yet because I need to address the emotional aspect of things first. So there's just all I'm trying to get at here, and hopefully what makes sense is that there's a ton of things that have helped me, and I want to share that with you. We now have, I think, over we have close to 3,000 people in the group now, and based on our research of those suffering around the world uh, from central pain syndrome who do not know that they have central pain syndrome, there are upwards of more than 20 million people. Um, this is not a rare disease. A rare disease is those who have those numbers of 400,000 cases and less. And while going grossly undiagnosed and misdiagnosed for decades, that central pain syndrome can be, depending on the etiology. Yes, there is a delay in treatment. Yes, there is a difficulty getting information. I believe personally that anyone who stumbles upon the actual diagnosis of central pain or central pain syndrome or centralized pain, post stroke pain, um, any of those titles, that searches Facebook for answers and stumbles upon this group is going to benefit from this information, from the information we have in the group from other people, from the camaraderie in our group, and the support and the care we give each other. So I appreciate you taking the time to really listen to my story